Well done. Hell of a lot better than well said.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into Southwest Bias live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today. And yeah, well done is a heck of a lot better than well said. And there were lots of questions about this Phoenix Suns team since the offseason started, including, did they really make the right choice in Brian Gregory? What in the world was Matt Ishbia talking about? And this one yesterday from Stephen A. Smith. All right, well, this one that we had from Stephen A. Smith, where he said, I don't know what the hell the Phoenix Suns are doing.
Respectfully, what on earth are the Phoenix Suns doing?
Well, you know what they were doing? They continued to cook, all right? They owned the NBA draft the last 2 days. They showed that they can get things done despite everybody questioning it. Now, I'll be the first to admit the Brian Gregory press conference didn't evoke a lot of confidence. We didn't see something that we thought was the guy that they were selling us on. A lot of people wanted to sit here and say, oh, he's just some fraternity brother of Matt Ishbia. Just forgetting the fact that he had 30 plus years of experience in basketball. Look, Matt Ishbia's press conference had a lot of people making fun of him. A lot of people saying, why is this guy wanting to be involved in the team that he paid $4 billion for? And he sat there and he said, you know what? Change is coming. And people were like, well, where is it? Well, it was made. Front office has changed. Head coach has changed. Almost the entire roster has been rejuvenated via trade and draft. They essentially laid out exactly what they were going to do. They wanted to set an identity. And if you look at the kind of players that they got, they've started that. The words grimy, grinders, and tough were used by both Gregory and Matt Ishbia. And when you look at the guys that they picked up, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kaman Malawach, Rasheer Fleming, these guys have that edge. They play defense. They're tough. They did exactly what they were going to say. They said, when mistakes happen, we're going to move fast. They did that. They didn't sit there and go, let's run it back and see if it'll work again. No, they made the changes. They talked about alignment. They were damn aligned in what they wanted to do over the last week or so. The last 5 days, and in particular, the 2 days of the draft, they put their plan into action. They took every step that they said they were going to. And there's more to come, but they did what they said they were going to do. And almost everybody is praising them for their draft day moves, obviously with the exception of Screamin' A. But whether or not it works on the court, they proved that this is not a group that is incapable of putting together a plan and enacting it. Brian Gregory proved that he's not a guy incapable of negotiating and making moves. I asked that question to a high-up official in the Suns organization when the hire was made. I said, do you believe that going into the most important offseason you've had in a very, very long time, having a guy who hasn't been in those negotiation rooms, is that the best course of action? And I was told directly, yes, we believe in Brian Gregory. Well, I think today, a lot more fans and a lot of other people are starting to believe in Brian Gregory as well and the vision that they laid out. Because sure, those press conferences were rough. Brian Gregory's was rough. But I said at the time, I don't give a crap if you win the press conference. Winning the press conference does not matter. But going out and executing your plan, showing you have a vision, and changing over a roster that needed it desperately, that matters to me. They had 4 trades, 6 new players. They went from having no quality draft capital a week ago to having a lottery pick and moving all the way up from the end of the second round to the beginning of the second round. So for everybody that said they don't have any assets, they got a roster full of assets now. Young talent that can make them better now and in the future. They went from the second oldest roster in the NBA to one of the youngest in a matter of days. Everybody saying this team needed to get younger, they did exactly that. They got guys that are willing to grind, that are willing to play defense, that are willing to show up day in, day out in that gym and do what it takes. Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kaman Malawach, Rasheer Fleming, Mark Williams, Koby Brea, are all guys that have shown that they will work their asses off. This team lacked that last year and the year before that. Devin Booker, for the first time in a very long time, has a group of young studs that he can play along with, that he has lob threats, shooting threats, and guys to play defense behind him that can help out. And when Devin Booker has had that in the past, guess what? His defenses look significantly better as well, because team defense is just as important as anything in the NBA. And guess what? They got that as well. This is the attitude era for the Phoenix Suns. And if you don't like it, I've got 2 words for you. Total alignment. Because that's what we saw over the last few days. A vision that was laid out. A execution of that vision over the last few days. And there's more to come. Again, it may not all come together on the court. And we know that because there's been drafts that have been praised. One that comes to mind is Dragan Bender and Marquise Chris. And a lot of people praised that for the aggressiveness. But that never felt like a plan other than accumulating as much potential as possible. This feels like a strategic look at the kind of guys and the identity that you want in an organization. That's what the Phoenix Suns and Brian Gregory did. Brian Gregory managed to cook. And I don't care whether you liked his press conference or not. Because well done is better than well said, despite what any of the noise says. Because, as Matt Ishbia said...
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously, I don't think many people do, to be honest with you.
But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, onto the program. Shane, how are you, my friend? Oh, we went back to Teletubbies today.
Yeah.
Huh? We got some work to do on the under.
Yeah, I just, we've got some complaints from the fishes down there that we weren't allowed to be there. So I have to get my permits, my fish permits, the fermits, if you will.
We should work on that.
Yeah.
So
how you doing?
I am doing, like I've said on this program this week, a lot better than where I was last week.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to introduce something called the Nick Cage spectrum soon. And I was deep in the bowels of the Nick Cage spectrum. I was in a drive angry phase of where I was. And now I am feeling pretty damn optimistic about where the Phoenix Suns are. And I feel like ownership, this front office might get the last laugh because we live in a microwave culture. Everybody wants everything now. Everybody wants to make fun of every little thing in the moment. And guess what? Sometimes that blows up in your face. And hey, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe what I've said will blow up in my face at some point. But I just feel like everybody had a criticism. And in a matter of a week, you start to look at it and you go, I see where this is going. I see what they're trying to
Yes.
accomplish. And I see the next few moves that they have to do. And I feel a little bit more confident now that they're going to accomplish it, that they'll figure out a way. I still don't think it'll be a trade, but they'll figure out a way to resolve the Bradley Beal situation. Now Nick Richards is a piece that you could trade if you so choose to try to gain somebody, or Oso Ighodaro if you go that route. I mean, there's a lot more to be optimistic about than there was when the season ended. So I feel much better today, but how are you feeling about it?
I think that anybody that talks matter of fact about the NBA draft is BSing. It's impossible. You can like moves and you can not like moves, but you can't say anything is for certain.
No, and none of these guys are. They all could be busts. What I'm saying is the plan
for sure. But yes,
was accurate.
Exactly, and that's all you can ask for right now is that there was a plan going into it, and they executed and succeeded on what their idea of success was. You got the pieces that not only one, I think Malawash was the best player available there, but two, he was also at a position of need.
Mm-hmm. You did exactly what you were hoping. You got the most talented guy that can help you now, and it wound up at a position of need. You didn't have to reach.
And this was the first time in my memory that the Suns picked the guy that was the draft sweetheart that everybody wanted. That never happens, because you look at the Bender draft. That was the most overthinking ever. That pick specifically. And yeah, you can look at some of the guys that went right after him, like Chris Dunn immediately after. It's not much better, but you just there are so many things in this draft that the Suns of the past wouldn't have done. Whether you agree with the Mark Williams trade or not, they would have never done that, and they're going for it now because they believe in the plan that they have and the actions that they're taking.
Well, everybody was like, hey, there's no way that they can thread the needle and try to win now and get younger and make their future brighter. I'd argue they did just that. Now, they're not championship contenders, and nobody's kidding themselves, but at this point, I think they're going to have a better record than last year. I think they're going to be a hell of a lot more fun to watch, and they are set up better for the next 4 to 5 years in Devin Booker's prime there. And I don't think you could say that. I don't think anybody expected them to be able to be at this point where they are. You might have to change Brian Gregory's name to Brain Gregory if this continues on. If they figure out a way to trade Bradley Beal, I'll build the freaking statue.
Yeah.
I don't care if they win. That will be the most impressive moves that I've seen. And look, I consider Ryan McDonough a friend, but I never felt like there was the vision like this and the backing from ownership. Because every time I'd have Ryan tell me what a vision was, he'd get undercut by the disgraced former owner. Now, I know we joke about alignment. We joke a lot about that. But it's so important to have your owner back up what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And that is what's going on here. Again, I don't know if it'll work, but I feel a hell of a lot better than I did about where they were.
The assets that you gave up for the KD trade made that trade so that if you did win a championship, it was a failure.
Yes.
100%. Those type of trades are impossible to rebound from immediately. I don't think any Suns fan that is realistic is saying that this team is going to be in contention to win the West next year.
No.
But what they are in contention to do is to be competitive in the next 3 or 4 years, which is all you can ask for right now. And as long as you can keep interest in the fan base and keep interest in your franchise player, Devin Booker, I think that's a success.
You know where my bar is after last year?
It's not even on this floor.
It's being better than 10 games under 500.
Yeah.
It's being in the play-in picture for next year. It's knowing that there's hope and not just dread. It's knowing if I turn on a Suns game that I'm actually going to be entertained rather than wanting to put my foot through my TV. That's where we were.
Yeah.
I could not stand last year, and I've said it here. I got paid to watch those games. I don't know how somebody who wasn't getting paid to watch them continued to do so. But now, young, athletic, energetic, defensive, with an attitude and an edge. I think that's a win for everybody just to have to watch it. And that's what I'm excited about. Shane, there was something that we dropped today.
There is.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
fantastic.
I like I said, I mean, I'm fully aligned right now. Like I can't tell you how aligned I am. And this fits right in with it. Shane, can we show the people? We have a new aligned shirt. It just dropped in the PHNX locker, and you can get that by going to gophnx.com. It is our merch. It's the aligned shirt. It is beautiful. If you are feeling fully aligned like a lot of us, go pick it up and let's have some fun because even if we don't win, we're damn aligned while we do it.
Yeah, aligned while losing. That can be the key term next year during a losing streak. The one thing about this shirt, when you look at it, this looks very comfortable, right? It looks like it has great material.
Is this your draft? Is this your scouting report on the shirt?
Yep.
It's got all the intangibles you'd want.
It's got, well, no, they're all tangible because you can feel them, because you can feel how breathable it is. These shirts that we sell are fantastic. Go to gophnx.com to get this shirt. Go to the locker. They're the best. So this is one of our newer ones, but this is our newest one, but there's also a great collection there.
Aligned. All right. You know what, Shane? I think we need an aligned meter that's just a straight line up.
I don't like that.
How aligned we are at any given moment.
I don't like the term aligned meter.
You don't like? Come on. No. You want to be fully aligned, Shane. We talked about it in the opening in the dry heat segment that there were a lot of moves yesterday and a lot of things that the Suns did. We're going to take a look at all of those after the break. You know what I'm aligned with? Circle K. Because when I need gas, I know that I'm going to get one hell of a discount because I am a member of the Inner Circle. I signed up. I got 25 cents off my first 5 fill-ups. And I thought, man, they love minor loser celebrities in this town. And then I realized, no, everybody that signs up gets that deal. Then you're going to get 3 cents off every gallon after that. Then you can hit the ESPO level. You can get 5 cents off. But they do great things. Like the other day, I got an email that said you're getting 50 cents off per gallon. 50 cents off. And then yesterday, they had a fuel day at participating locations that was 40 cents off just for being an Inner Circle member. But it doesn't stop there. You know how hot it is outside? Yeah, you do. I mean, your face essentially melts when you go outside, and then you get a brand on you when you touch a metal seatbelt. But they got Polar Pops for 79 cents, Frosters for 99 cents. They got deals on Gatorade, or if you need a pick-me-up, they got deals on Monster Energy drinks. You can check it all out, and all you got to do to get these discounts is become a member of the Inner Circle by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And Vimy, we all got that friend that just will not pay up on their
Stephen A.
bills.
Smith.
Well, yeah, I mean, Stephen A. can't back up what he talks. I was playing solitaire with him the other day. I said, $5, I'm going to beat you in this. He said, you're on. I beat him, and guess what? Never got the money. No Venmo, no cash, none of that. Because we should have used Vimy. Vimy is the app where you can place your wager right there in the app with your friend, and then transfer the money automatically right there in the app. No going around, fussing around, trying to figure out. You can do one-on-one or group bets. You can do fantasy football, push-up contests if you want. I'm not doing that. You'll beat me. And then, Shane and I might do a chugging contest while we're in Vegas. We might have to do that and bet on it in VME. So what you got to do, go download the VME app. That's VME, and play today using the promo code PHNX, available on the App Stores, Google Play, VME, anywhere, anything, anytime. Look, a lot of moves. Shane, I don't know that the only thing that I can compare the last few days to was, I believe it was the 2015 trade deadline, where a third of the roster got traded in 5 minutes before the trade deadline. And I was working for the team, and it was just insanity. People trying to figure out things, people trying to understand what's going on. And the last 2 days, I mean, really the last 5 days are what it is. And it was crazy. And Brian Gregory, Matt Ishbia, the whole staff making a lot of moves. Killer Rex saying, Brian Gregory saved us, not Matt Ishbia. But then last week it was Matt Ishbia's all the problems. So you can't give hate and then give credit elsewhere. I think this is everybody being involved.
Everybody being aligned.
Yeah, everybody being in full alignment, right? But they made a bunch of trades yesterday, right? They navigated their way up. They had the 52nd and 59th pick when the day started. They wind up working their entire way up the board to 36, then 31. They moved those late second rounders. They got up to 41, and they got talent that, in particular, in Rasheer Fleming, that was in most people's first round. He was 26th on the Suns' big board. Some boards had him as high as 17. This was a guy that was almost a surefire first rounder that they wind up getting in the second round.
He was the sweetheart of the draft, as I called him earlier. You look at his measurables, and I'm always, as a lot of people are, but you're skeptical when a guy is a high recruit or high profile NBA draft prospect, but they're at St. Joe's.
I mean, of course, there's questions based on what is that, Atlantic 10 competition?
A10,
yeah. A10.
But this guy is the typical don't overthink it, look at the measurables, and build from there. Again, you are not drafting Rasheer Fleming with the idea that he's going to start on a championship roster from day one. You're drafting him with the idea that you're going to build him into something special. You can't teach 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan. You don't do that.
I'm calling him the stock market because the dude gets steals and blocks like crazy, right? This is a defensive guy that's going to have backside help for Malawach and Mark Williams. He's going to be exciting to watch. That 7'5" wingspan, and he has a standing reach of 9'1". That's insane.
Yeah, that's stupid.
This guy's measurables are crazy. And I know measurables don't mean everything, but what he was able to do, I mean, great three-point shooter as a junior, 39%. You hope that carries over, at least in part, to the NBA. There's a lot of intangibles. Brian Gregory used his relationships in college basketball to get insight on this guy. Knows the St. Joe's coach pretty well. So I actually heard about him as well. I mean, let's take a look at his strengths and weaknesses, Shane. I think we have the graphic here. I mean, his strengths, he's got a high motor. And I don't care what competition you're playing against. High motor is something that you see regardless.
That's what people see in me when I'm playing at my rec league basketball games. They see a high motor.
We should see it around the office sometime.
Hey, now.
He's a defensive activity guy all over the court. Like I said, the stock market, going to get you blocks, going to get you steals, and good teammate from everything we've heard. Yeah, there's some weaknesses, and there's always going to be when you take a guy late first, early second round. Creating shots for himself is something he needs to work on, as well as contested three-point shooting and a little bit of his finishing at the rim. But overall, Rasheer Fleming is a guy that everybody, around draft circles seemed to really love. And the Suns had to get up to 31 because the Celtics, at least according to Shams Charania, were prepared to take him at that next pick at 32. And when you want to talk about an organization that everybody respects and looks at their front office and goes, that's a model organization, it's the Celtics. And, at least from their draft and scouting perspective, I know there's some questions about how they're making trades right now, but they were high on this guy. I think that says volumes. But let's hear what Brian Gregory had to say about drafting Rasheer Fleming.
To hitch on the last point, the measurables obviously are off the chart, and when you look at kind of the groundwork that we're laying in terms of some of our recent action, you're starting to see the profile of, really high character guys that love to play, that are, just guys that want to get better, are going to work to get better. And you see in Rasheer that over his years at St. Joe's, great length, great athletic ability, physically tough, plays with that toughness, that grit that is so important to us. Shot extremely well from the three, deflections, shot blocking, all those different things that just shows his activity level on the defensive end. Again, just 20 years old. So there's a pathway for an improvement that, we're really, really excited about. Billy Lang is his college coach, and I go back a long way. Billy was an assistant coach for 6 years with the Philadelphia 76ers, and just raved about him in every possible aspect, from his work ethic to the kind of person he is, to the teammate that he is. And very similar to last year with Oso. If you do your research and you do your due diligence and you have a great scouting group, some of those picks in the 30s and early 40 range, you can really come out with some really good players. And I think we did that today.
Yep, I think they did as well. I think a key piece to this is how Jordan Ott is going to deal with development with this team, how his staff comes together, and how they work on it. But it's a lot of talent there, as you heard the kind of views of Suns general manager Brian Gregory on Rasheer Fleming, but Koby Brea, the sharpshooter from Kentucky, another guy that they added that I don't think they were necessarily expecting to be there at 41. When they selected, but this is a team that's had some success with 6'6" guys that can shoot from Kentucky, and this guy, one of the best shooters in the country, shot 43.5% from 3-point land. Why don't we take a look at his overall stats here?
If you want to feel if you want to feel warm as a Suns fan, go watch his tape, because he's got some of the most fun tape to watch, because he just shoots the crap out of the ball. Watch his game against Alabama, specifically at Alabama. That's one of the hardest places to play in the country. I think it was one of his first threes that he made in that game was from like 35 feet, and it was just like he didn't even care. It was just such a confident pull-up.
By the way, if you're in here, hit that like button if you were a big fan of what Brian Gregory and the boys did. But Koby, great shooter. I mean, I think that is exactly what this team needed to continue to add. As you look at, they got more athletic, they got bigger, they got better on the defensive end. But it's always nice, as the old adage goes, that you can't have too many shooters, and it's nice to add a guy like this. Brian Gregory had this to say when it came to Koby Brea.
Well, there's only one. I think he led the country in 3-point shooting. So there's only one, number one. The one thing he is, obviously, he's proven during his entire career at Dayton and at Kentucky just how good he is shooting the ball. But every year he's gotten better and added another dimension to the shooting, where maybe early it was spot ups, then it became off of some pin downs and stagger screen actions, then it came off of actions off the dribble, then it was a little bit of the NBA with the sidestep threes and the step back threes. So that progression that we were able to evaluate and watch was a big reason for us taking him. He is an NBA 3-point shooter with at just a tad under 6'7" or right at 6'7". He also has the ability to shoot over a contested defender, which is really important in our game today. Has been well coached. I think Coach Pope is one of the best coaches in the country. Anthony Grant at Dayton, and I have a long-standing relationship. Obviously, I coached there, so I know everybody in the program. And again, we're just bringing in high-quality young men that are excited about coming to Phoenix, excited about playing for the Suns. They understand how important becoming a part of the community is for us moving forward as we're setting new standards and different things like that. And when you just talk to them, you can feel it that they're going to be just great parts of our team.
I think an underrated portion of, I think we all may have overlooked this with Brian Gregory, is when you're a coach, you do have a certain eye about looking at how guys play, what they're able to do, how they figure out things in the game, but also the relationships. And I think that's a huge reason why Brian Gregory was able to do what he did in the draft. Speaking of coaches, my high school coach always said, you may work hard in life, but sometimes you still got overtime. So if you're watching us on our TV partners, head over to gophnx.com right now. The fun always continues there. Shane, do you think that they just people overlooked the fact that Brian Gregory has an eye for basketball after being a 30-year head coach and has a lot of contacts in the college game?
100%. I mean, I said it to you while that interview was going. I forgot that he coached at Dayton for so long. I had that connection, and Koby Brea, obviously 4-year player at Dayton, and was able to lead the country in three-point percentage at 49.8% his senior year there. So, yeah, he's got the connections, and he knows he's getting a good one there. So, yeah, I definitely think people overlook that. It is, I mean, the Suns fans have had a GM with basketball experience, like James Jones, obviously. But it's a different thing to have a GM that specializes in college ball.
Yeah.
Because you build through the draft, but you also evaluate talent outside of just the NBA draft. You evaluate talent like, yeah, you might not get your guy that you wanted in the top 10 because you don't have a lottery pick that year. But, if things aren't working out and the Lakers want to ship somebody off or Mavs are tired of this guy's attitude, it's good to have an evaluator to know what that guy stands for.
Yep. I'm a big fan, obviously, of what they did. Shane, it seems like you are pretty satisfied with what they came away with in the draft as well. Obviously, a lot of things still to figure out on the roster. Too many shooting guards, too much money there. Also need to move on from Bradley Beal one way or another. But if I told you last Friday when we sat here on the program where they are right now, would you have believed me?
Maybe, because it's not like they, traded for another star.
No, but how young they got, the fact that they,
I mean, I probably wouldn't believe you just because I had no faith at the time.
Exactly.
So this is a great place to be in. So I put in the chat, what grade would you give the Phoenix Suns draft in a poll? I'm concluding the poll, and with 71%, the chat gives them an A. 21% say a B, 5% say an F, and 1% says a C.
5% of you are just haters that don't understand ball. As Devin Booker said on Twitter once, can't talk ball with everybody.
Nope.
Shane, I'm going to go a little off script here. Why does the world look at, if you have a positive view of a situation, as you're automatically a shill? Like, why is there such cynicism in the world right now that you can't just go, hey, I like this. You may not like it, and that's your prerogative, but, not everybody's a shill.
2 words, or is it a compound word? Self-loathing. Actually, that's 2 words. Yeah.
PTSD?
No. Self-loathing.
Self-loathing?
They hate themselves, and they are incapable of believing in an optimistic outlook on life.
I mean, you see Batman Conan O'Brien sits on my desk, and I remember, thank you, Brendan Clean, shouting shill at me in the chat. My friend there, he talked about cynicism in his final episode after on the Tonight Show after getting, I guess we're in overtime. I'm not going to say it. He got crap canned. We'll go with that. To me, it always stuck with me that, yeah, sometimes things can seem bad. You don't have to be Pollyannic about it, but if you see something that gives you hope, don't just write it off automatically. And I at the beginning of this said, hey, give it time. That was my message. And we've given it time, and I have some optimism, some hope about it now. Like, I think the front office is starting to earn that trust, like we talked about. It's not given, it's earned. And I think the last 5 days have earned some of that trust. Now you got to keep doing it. And I think, again, if you want to say that Matt Ishbia has had his fingers in everything, you got to give him credit for the good and credit for the bad, right? You can't pick one or the other. So that's why I'm optimistic. Well, and I could be proven completely wrong.
Yeah, here you go, Shill. I'll pose you this. The Mark Williams trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not a... But you can't look at that and say that's a great trade.
No, but as part of a larger picture, I can understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn what was a position of complete weakness last year into more of a strength. Now, you're taking a gamble. Mark Williams is a massively injured player, does not play a full season. But then I go, oh, well, then the thinking is probably that, that's where Malawach comes in. And then he picks up those minutes as he learns in this game. You play them together sometimes. Like you can't look at one puzzle piece and go, well, this thing sucks, right? Because when you're putting together the pieces and they fit, eventually it makes a full picture. Then you say, whether you like it or not. And the Mark Williams trade is a boom or bust move. It could be huge because they did not give up. I don't care what anybody says. They did not give up much in terms of assets, especially when you compare it to what the Lakers are. The guy's still 23, is a 15-10 guy. And if he stays healthy, all of a sudden you look like geniuses for selling or buying low on a guy that could wind up being a big piece of what you're doing. So, and when you're in a position that they're in, sometimes you have to take big swings, right? You have to go, where am I going to get some value here that maybe I wouldn't have either?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit on it because you gave up the last asset you had in that, and I understand draft picks are draft picks, it's whatever, but like now you legitimately have nothing, and so to me that was the only disalignment, or is that the correct term? Disalignment?
You're unaligned.
I don't know. Whatever it is. That was the only time you weren't fully aligned, in my opinion, with the future, because you are looking at this and you wanted to get younger, and you did get younger. Mark Williams, obviously 23 years old, but you did give away the rest of your assets for a guy that's going to help you now when
but could help you, could also help you in the future. He's 23.
Should help you in the future if you stay healthy. But my point is, you're looking at this and you're saying they probably traded for him in conjunction with Malawach because you knew Malawach wasn't good enough to start right now.
Or do they believe that they can play on the same court?
Yeah, I know.
The Cavs played too.
It would be awesome.
Jordan Ott came from.
It would be awesome, and that's what Gregory said.
I think one thing that you may be ignoring here is we were saying they had no draft capital, a week and a half ago, right? And what'd they do? They traded things. They got more picks. They moved around. You can't tell me that a Grayson Allen or a Royce O'Neal, might not get you draft picks in return, or even a Nick Richards. Now they may be second round picks, but in all reality, that pick that they traded for Williams is probably going to be a late first round pick, which is essentially a second round pick. John Doe says misaligned. Okay. So there we go. We have that in the quiver.
And then I think the trading up to 31, which is basically where you were at 29, and still being able to get your guy, kind of nixed that pick in general. Mm-hmm. Like I do not care about anything past the 45th pick in the NBA draft. So
no, it's rare that any of those guys turn into anything. And people go, Toumani Camara. For every Toumani Camara, I can give you literally hundreds of guys that made a bigger name going and working at the car dealership after they're drafted in the second round than they ever did in basketball.
Yeah, and people are bringing it up in the chat, and it's something that I pushed as soon as the trade happened. You looked at what the Lakers gave up. Mm-hmm. Like it's night and day difference. I mean, you say what you want about Cam Reddish. I still think he has value in this league. Dalton Connect, obviously. Both they basically traded what was 4 first-round picks and obviously not the same amount of value, and you're getting it for this. So I understand you're not giving up a ton. I just think that it was the plan was a little confused. But that was the only part about it. I still give this draft an A.
That portion of it, okay. I still think we're in for a lot of moves to come. Now, I don't know what the heck they're going to do with Bradley Beal. I still think if he's gone, it's by a buyout. But if they pull off a miracle and convince somebody, to actually make a deal for Bradley Beal, there's some Jedi mind trick crap going on.
What do you think about
there.
this from Killer X? BG the chiropractor.
I kind of like that. Alignment, definitely a chiropractor thing. If we get some kind of tire sponsorship, we could throw him in with that.
Killer X, I said some value. I did not say he has like value. Say what you want about him. He still has some value.
But Values in the eye of the beholder.
It is.
Like,
you
need a veteran for your G League team.
Hey.
Cam Reddish has got you
He's
covered.
only like, how old is he? He's also one of my darlings. I loved him so much.
I figured that was what it was.
He's only 25.
Yeah.
He averaged 3 points and 2 rebounds last year. That's awesome.
Look, I've been told once you're over 25, you're past your prime, right? And so this room is past its prime.
I'm cooked.
The show's almost past its expiration date here. So any final thoughts to close it out, Shane? Any other guys you want to say have talent that have absolutely none?
Killer X and everyone else, you'll like this. Janai Broom is Jahlil Okafor, but maybe he'll be better.
Interesting.
And he went to the Sixers, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's about the only value I got.
Shane Allen says you guys have 4 centers and 9 guards. Again, what day is it? It's June 27th.
We got a game tomorrow.
5 days, and this roster was completely turned upside down. I'm saying give them another 5, and you may not have 4 centers and 9 guards. Okay, great. If we ran things out there right now, a lot of teams would have weird roster flaws because guys aren't contract and whatever. So under contract and whatever. Look, Summer League 2 weeks away. Shane and I are going to be there. I have no clue if we're going to do the Friday and Monday show from out there or not. We're going to have to find somewhere to actually do that and figure out what equipment we're bringing. But we're going to get you all the info from out there at Summer League. First game is Saturday, the 12th, Friday the 11th. So get ready for that. Shane, are you packed for Vegas? Are you ready for debauchery?
Mentally packed, yep.
Me saying debauchery, I'm going to go to bed at 10 p.m. in Vegas.
I'll be at the blackjack table until at least 11:30.
Come on, you'll find the Panda slots and be there till 11:45. Hey, look, that is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. You can follow the mustache behind the Mac at Shane Deef. You can follow me at Espo. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. And remember, you can call me a shill, but I'm still going to be right. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.